welcome to round 3 of the Saleucami Showdown, brought to you by Out of Art Gaming. As always, this game was filmed at Entoyment in Poole, and my name is Phil. For this round, I am joined by...
It's me, yeah. Hiya, I'm Fergus. How's it going?
Hi Fergus, welcome to the channel. Great to have you on. First time you've been here commentating with us, so really looking forward to getting your insights into the game. Right, so standard format, guys. What we're going to do is we are going to go through the lists, discuss what we like about them, have a chat about the game, and probably meander off the game at some point to talk about anything new and interesting that we have spotted. And we will keep you up to date on what's actually happening on the game. But as I said, this is round 3 of the Saleucami Showdown tournament recently held at Entoyment, and it was a hyperspace legal tournament. Now, Fergus, you're going to go through the Scum side. So as that's on the left, did you want to go through that list first?
Yeah, let's go on the Scum side. Typical Scum faction, we have 3 Fang Fighters and 1 Jump Master. In one of the Fangs, we have Fen Rao with Fearless, pretty box standard combo there for all your Scum players. 2 Zealous Recruits, and Nom Nom with Auto Blasters and Dengar, which is lots of I1s and an I6. Good combo.
It is quite a nice combo, especially for you. I know you're a big fan of the I1s being a Seppi player, so... And in fact, I'm pretty sure that the list you ran in this tournament was all I1s, so... I know you see the benefit there.
Right, it wasn't a Vulture Swarm. Something different. You know,
no.
I1s, but different.
It was a mixed swarm you had there. And facing Ben and his Scum, we have Craig with his Resistance list. Now, he has 4 ships, all running exactly the same. We have 4 Red Squadron Experts at I3, running the integrated S-foils, the heroic upgrade, and advanced optics. So quite a common sort of setup there, but nice and straightforward, having 4 ships doing exactly the same thing, making it a lot easier to know exactly what you're going to do with that. And I do quite like that little swarm option there that he's got. So I mean, if you were to run either of these... Yeah, if you were to run either of these lists, Fergus, which one do you think would be your preference?
I mean, I have no experience with Scum. I do play Rebels as well, so I'll probably go with the X-Wings because I like X-Wings. Normally try Luke and Wedge, but this is Resistance, so it's slightly different. But yeah, I like the look of the I like the T-70, and 4 of them, even nicer.
Yeah, I mean, 4 T-70s, they are a really good ship. And again, they do look really cool on the board. It's quite nice to see X-Wings on the board of either variant. So far in the tournament, we haven't actually had any X-Wings on the board. We've had the Rebel list, but that was 2 Bs and 2 Y-Wings. So to actually have some form of X-Wings on the board is really nice. And they're obviously running their classic heroic upgrade. So we'll see how many times that actually triggers in this game.
And you have to shout heroic every time.
Absolutely. In fact, you know, we like having little things in the comments. So for those of you watching, pop in the comments how many times you see heroic trigger. And if you have got the right answer in there, we will like and pin that comment. But it looks like we've got our initial movement there. Quite an interesting opening from Ben. He's left Fen all on his lonesome up the top there with those red squadrons coming at him. And he's got the rest of his squadron down at the bottom, potentially looking to try and flank round.
Yeah, I mean, Fen is a quick ship, and he's even quicker with with boosting and barrel rolling with a nice linking focus. So
yeah, so the ability to dual modify your positioning is really strong, and not many ships actually have that option. So for Fen to have that is quite nice. And at the moment, Ben's turning him down, so it's almost like he's using Fen as a little bit of a bait to say, here I am, come and chase me, and then probably try and lead them down into the rest of his forces there, which seems like a very Scum tactic.
Yeah, I mean, 71 points of bait is one big bait of especially in a tournament setting.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you're playing with a swarm, you sort of want to pick off either the weakest link and then start going throughout, or you go for the big scary one, and then hopefully it shatters its forces. Like a morale drop, but
yeah, I mean, when your key piece, as it were, goes down, it can be quite demoralizing, and sometimes it can be quite hard to pick yourself up from there. And I think every Scum player that runs Fen will probably say that, with the exception of, say, a Fen boba list with a tooled up boba, you would say that Fen is normally your key piece in there. He's your hard-hitting ace, really good in the end game of getting around ships when they're starting to take damage and you're starting to lose ships and those formations break up. He's really good to get in there and then cause those last little bits of damage to push over half points or get the full kill there. Which against these X-Wings isn't going to be necessarily so easy because they've got a lot of health on the X-Wings.
Yeah, he's like a big scary sheepdog, to be honest. Just going around to just herd the X-Wings into the asteroid cloud, really.
Yeah.
Or follow, just like a big following the leader thing. Just follow me and follow me, but I'm going to kill you later. So
Yeah, and I noticed that what is sometimes quite different, and you don't often see, is we actually have 6 asteroids as obstacles on the board. There's no gas clouds, there's no debris, which is quite strange. Normally you'd see a bit of a mix of all of them. I mean, for myself, I do tend to take at least one gas cloud on the board because I find that it's a bit more of a forgiving obstacle to go over. If you're not as confident with flying, or if you are more than happy to use that as a just go for it option.
I mean, I would run 3 massive rocks or debris clouds for my droids to land on.
Yeah, I suppose as a separatist player, that's obviously going to be quite a popular one for yourself. You're not a big fan of the gas clouds.
No, I mean, when I played against Ben's list, I was like, yes, 6 asteroids, I'm going to have some fun. And then just probably put my stuff on the rocks, and then, can't remember what I did. Did something, got 1 ship on a rock.
Fine. So you ended up playing against Ben in the tournament then?
Yeah, it was the first game, I remember. It's the first game of the whole, it was round 1 for me.
Nice. Okay, so you've got experience coming up against him then. So when you actually flew against him with your list, what was your first reaction, or what was your first thoughts of, right, which piece would you be looking to try and get off the board first? Was it Fen, or was it one of the other pieces?
Well, I didn't actually know the points of the Scum stuff. So it was really between Fen and Nom Nom. And I just think Nom was a lot scarier with Dengar just making me remove either calculates or making me take damage. And I had some quite frail ships as well.
Yeah.
So going for Nom and the other 2 Fang fighters just seemed a lot more... I don't know, it just seemed more appealing than going for Fen in the distance. Because it's like, for me, it was either one or the other. Do I go for his mini swarm, or do I just go for Fen? And I decided just to fly into his big swarm, his mini swarm.
No, I get that. I suppose with Fen and his ability and the fact that he's got Fearless on there does make him quite a scary prospect, especially from your list. I can imagine being a separatist player, there was a lot of I1s on your list. You're going to get the benefit of simultaneous fire against Nom Nom and the Zealous Recruit. So even though both of you would still get to shoot, you're more likely to get some damage in there. Whereas if you're going against Fen's going to be the one shooting you first. So there's not really much. You've got to hope to survive against that and then get those shots back.
Yeah, I think I flew 2 Bactoids and 2 House Shell prototypes with a H&P. And they're all quite stacked, but with upgrades, but that sort of helped me in this situation when I flew against Ben. But enough about that. looks like Craig is going in for. Yeah, looks like he's trying to hit Fen at the moment. So.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he's spotted that bait. As to whether he's fallen for the bait or he's deliberately trying to get Fen to rush away is a very different question. It would be possibly nice to maybe speak to Craig at some point later and ask him what he was thinking on this game. But Fen's obviously booking it back down the board towards the safety of his compadres. But it looks like we're going to be trying to go for a possible joust through the middle of the board and those rocks, which it's hard to say who that's going to favour. With the red squadrons being I3, it does mean they are going to get to shoot first. So if they can focus fire one of those zealous recruits down, or even trigger Nom Lum into having a potentially weaker shot, because with Nom Lum's ability, I'm not 100% familiar with it, but I believe that once Nom Lum has become the defender, he has to then turn his arc towards the last person who shot at him. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so after you become the defender, if the attacker is not in your turret arc, you must rotate your turret indicator to a standard arc the attacker is in. So that's quite an interesting ability there. Although like it can be quite handy if you haven't got arc.
It's good in the sense that you don't have the waste actions rotating, because I mean you always have a shot on target.
But so, is it going to be? It does make it harder though to then focus fire, because you've kind of got to hope that if you do want to focus fire, that Nom Lum's arc is in the same position as the zealous recruits or Fen Rao. And we've got a bit of a speculative shot on Fen there. More of a dice than you can throw a very large stick at, and Fen Rao basically said no, which is what Fen Rao does.
Fen does, yeah.
So,
I mean, you wouldn't expect much against 3 dice versus probably 5 dice. And range guided.
Yeah, range 3 with that obstruction, 5 dice. So yeah, it's always going to be tough to get past that with 3 dice. And I think that's where the Fang fighters do become tough, is the amount of dice they can get for attack and defense.
I think Fen in particular, with his ability, that it triggers on both attack and defense, is very, very nice.
Yeah. I mean, that is obviously, though, what contributes to him being 71 points for a 4-hull ship. With Fearless
I6
on
as well.
Yeah.
He's an I6 interceptor with Concordia face-off, which is probably my least favourite one to play against, because just guaranteeing yourself evade, and if you're just trying to tap at a ship, you can't do that against these Fang fighters.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I am a big fan of the Scum faction. I do fly them quite regularly. I don't tend to fly Fen as often. I tend to go for some of the other more interesting pieces. I'm a big fan of the Lancer Pursuit Craft with a Sarge Ventress on it. That's quite good fun.
Yeah.
And also the Fire Spray. And no, I don't run the Bobber Fire Spray. I run the Ibn Azamine Fire Spray. Loving to throw those bombs out with the 3 templates. That's quite nice. So, I mean, I do stick Bobber on there as a crew, but he's not the pilot.
Not? No. I mean, I can't wait for the Separatist Fire Spray. I was so happy to see it revealed.
Oh, it does look good. So the article obviously came out not that long ago, and it does look like a really cool ship. And there's some really fun, interesting upgrades in there. The new Slave 1 title, for a start, it just adds even more flavour to an already flavoursome ship. So it's going to be quite interesting to see which variant of Slave 1 gets picked the most. But
I mean,
all in all,
it depends your style. It depends. Do you prefer dial manipulation or do you just prefer attacking? I mean, I quite like Zam as a pilot. How they've captured her with her shape shifting ability. They've done quite well for that, even though it is a word salad. But
oh yeah, it very much is a word salad. But I think once people get more used to that card and that pilot, I think it will be okay. I mean, there are a lot of cards in the game which are quite wordy and can be quite difficult to get your head around. But once you've seen it played a couple of times, I think that's going to be fine. But yeah, I do love that. I love everything they've done with Slave One to give it that extra little bit of flavour. So it doesn't just feel like a straight up second Scum ship. It actually feels like it's
has
its
own
own identity.
character.
Yeah.
I like Django as like a Jedi Hunter, which I think is something the Separatists need.
Yeah, and that's quite cool. And I do also like the fact that you can have Django as either a pilot or a crew. And with his crew, that's Separatist or Scum. And in fact, there's a lot of cards in there that do cross over between Separatists and Scum. So you've got Django himself, you've got the Boba Fett crew card for Baby Boba, can go either way.
Yeah.
And,
I think the whole Boba thing about being like by himself is a really good thing. And how he's like, he's like been left alone. He hates Mace Windu, and he's like, I'm going to do this all by myself because I'm cool.
Yeah.
And then he's going to infiltrate a clone factory or something. But he's a very good lone wolf candidate. And
yeah, he really works well in the flavour of how he was in Clone Wars. And we'll probably come back to that in a second. We do have some shooting here. So we've got some shooting going into Nom Lum there.
That looks like range 3 from on the back X-Wing.
Yeah, so range 3 using advanced optics there for 2 hits and a crit.
Now, what does advanced optic do? Because I'm unfamiliar with tech.
That's fine. Advanced optics is a lovely little bit of tech. And I'm just going to bring it up now. Because again, I don't use it very often, but I have used it a couple of times. So while you perform an attack, you may spend 1 focus token to change one of your blank results to a hit result. So quite a lot of utility there. Makes that focus token even stronger.
Yeah, that could be good on a ship that has that perceptive co-pilot or something.
Indeed. We've got another point of damage there on Nom Lum, so 2 evades for each shot there, but that's still 2 shields down.
And that does mean Nom Nom now has a turret. His turret is now aiming at the X-Wing, thanks to his ability.
Yep. Which I think would have stayed in that position anyway. So we've got 2 more shots coming in. Range 2. And finally spending that focus to evade that attack there. And we are getting a Dengar trigger now.
No, not Dengar. He's a nasty thing. Nasty little gunner. We're not really little.
Yep. So that Dengar trigger basically roll a dice and that ship suffers whatever is on that dice. So that's 1 hit onto the yellow red squadron. Once again, we've got another situation where it's a coloured squadron and all of the ships are different colours, so it's going to sound a little bit odd. And that's a hit crit onto Nom Lum there. And he has just got a wounded pilot. Ooh. So that could be quite an interesting one. After you perform an action, roll 1 attack die. On a hit or crit result, gain 1 stress token. Use an action to repair this card. So if he wants his focuses, he's going to have to run the risk of giving himself a stress there. Luckily, he doesn't have to worry about that rotate, because as long as he gets attacked, he'll keep him in arc. And then 1 shot back from Nom Lum going into yellow, the already damaged red squadron. So using auto blasters and 1 crit.
1 crit.
2 evades.
2 evades.
Happy days.
No need for heroic though.
No need for heroic this time. I think that wasn't a terrible exchange there for Craig, taking 4 damage off of Nom Lum in the first real round of shooting and only suffering 1 damage back. And it wasn't even from the shot, it was from Dengar. I think all in all, that's actually a pretty good first exchange there.
I mean, that's a good... damage. for the resistance, definitely stripping the shields off Nom Nom is a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Just leave it's now it's pretty much now a weaker Fang fighter, to be honest, with less evade and more hull.
Yeah.
So,
it means that every single crit now that is caused is going to be going straight through. So there's no shield protection there. Although that was only Nom Lum being in the fight there. I highly doubt that that'll be the only ship with the opportunity to shoot next round with those 2 zealous recruits right there. Fen might be a bit trickier to get him into a position to get a shot.
He might get a little plink shot in the distance.
Yeah, it might be maybe if he 3 halves round and then Bendy boosts in, he might be able to get a shot depending on where those T70s go. But we are getting a classic joust here, and so far on this first part of the initial parts, it's definitely working in Craig's favour. So we'll see what kind of manoeuvre we get. What would you do? What if you were Ben right now? What would you be doing with Nom Lum?
Either go do a 1 bank to the left, so either forcing the X-Wings to bump so they don't get actions, or so I can just do something casual and then just heal the wounded pilot and then sort of hope for the best.
So you'd be looking to try and use Nom Lum as a blocker now? Because if he blocks, it would only be the first row of X-Wings that he would block, so he still would get a shot through. But as you said, it would stop those actions, which would be quite nice.
Yeah, but it's all you do a bank in and hope the front 2 bump. So, if Nom Nom does a 1 bank to the left, that will cause the first row of X-Wings, which will just bump into him, hopefully. Then the back 2 will bump into each other. Even though Nom Nom's sort of out in the open, he still means the X-Wings are sort of easy picking for the Fang fighters.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you cause those bumps, taking away those actions is going to be really dangerous for those red squadrons. It means their advanced optics are no longer in play, which is, although it's not the key to their list, it's really handy. They'd have to then rely on either having really bad dice for most other factions and just blanking out and triggering heroic, or just rolling really, really solid. And again, if the front 2 bump into Nom Lum, then they can't just focus fire him down, because at the moment I'd be kind of tempted and thinking, I've got almost half points on Nom Lum. If you can finish him off, that gets a sizable amount of points on the board and something, a good blocker out of the way there. So that's what I'd definitely be looking for that.
If Nom Nom does something quite slow, the X-Wings will have 4 dice shots on Nom Nom.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
Yeah. If Craig calls it, if say Ben does that 1 hard and Craig calls it and just does a 1 forward, then yeah, you would be getting potentially 4 range 1 dice on Nom Lum, which I'm not going to lie, it'll be very tough for Nom Lum to survive that. So that would be a very scary situation. But if he can get those bumps in there and block all those actions, it's a very strong position to be in. And given the paint job, he looks like he likes to get in close and have a good fight anyway with the Punisher paint job on there.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of marble paint jobs on the Scum faction. I mean, we've seen with Ed in the past. He's had some really nice paint jobs on his Scum faction ships.
I think
But
with the
a
Scum
common
faction,
tie with the Punisher.
Yeah,
It does work, yeah.
It is quite a common one with the Punisher to have that Punisher symbol on there. And it just sits really nicely with that asymmetric shape of the ship as well.
Mm.
So, I mean, I don't blame people for doing that. It fits really nice on there, or even on the fire spray with the shape of that chassis. It looks nice.
Mm. Oh, definitely.
And it gives them a sort of like a unifying sort of like symbology, but without being exactly the same. So we do have that one bank, which does look like that unless that green has anticipated it and turned away, he will definitely be bumping. Unless yellow, possibly a one forward, might not bump, but I think we're going to see a lot of bumping here unless they anticipated and turned away.
Yeah.
And Ben playing risky there. He didn't repair the wounded pilot and did get the stress there, but I don't think, to be honest, he really bothers. He did get the stress.
Yeah, it doesn't affect him as much as it would affect something like Fen or the Fang Fighters.
I mean, especially with the fact that his turret essentially auto-rotates when he becomes the defender. He can pretty much always guarantee he's got a shot on target, so he's not so worried about that. We do have the two Zealous recruits coming up, building a little bit of a kill box in there. Interesting with the
becoming a joust.
Yeah, interesting with the one of them banking and one of them doing the straight maneuver. It's sort of. Oh no! Here we go. That might actually help open up that arc a little bit.
No, that looks like a fail to me.
Yeah. We'll see how they call that. Now, annoyingly, the table isn't as flat as we would have liked. There is a slight ridge in there, but still, we were using a separate room for the tournament. So they've declared that was a failed.
That was a
action
fail,
there. Yeah. So even though this is a tournament, still pretty casual, pretty friendly play. They decided to roll on it because it was hard to say. And they deemed that was a collision there with the asteroid. So that Fang Fighter has gone back. And because he didn't complete that action, he wasn't able to link that into another action. So bit of a shame there. No modification capability with that Zealous recruit. And now we get to see if it is Bump City. Oh, let's see what we get here. Oh, jumping right over.
Trying to do... I think he saw that and went for some 4Ks.
He did go for the 4K, which is great for a range one shot on Nomlum, but it does mean he is now getting
great.
Yeah, he's getting a range one shot from that Zealous recruit there. I mean
that is...
Yeah, that's a nice taste shot. It's almost a shame that the other Fang Fighter doesn't have him in arc, though, because then he could, I reckon, with two Fang Fighters there, if Craig shoots with one of the other ships afterwards, taking that arc away from him, he wouldn't have all the shots on him from Nomlum. But I'm just trying to have a look at that angle, whether the 4 straight might have been a bit better, so whether he could possibly have had angle on that Zealous recruit, but I think it might have just missed. Hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to see from this, but yeah, it was...
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, we're going to have some nice shots there into Nomlum. So we do have a bump from green there, because he would have had absolutely no way to get past Nomlum.
Yeah, then, no one to get past unless he did a one hard or something, which I'm not sure the X-Wing has.
No, it's got the one bank. It's not fortunate enough to have a one hard, but it does have the one bank. But so that's red bumping. So it is still 3 range 1 shots possible into Nomlum. Fen has taken it a little bit slower there. He can still bank round and boost round, and get an arc onto yellow.
And he's going to do the linking focus. Yeah, he does. Of course he does. I think that's a very typical thing that Ben does with these Fang fighters.
Yeah, and it's almost like seeing Sun Tifel doing some form of link action as well. It's very rare that he's not going to do that. So we've got an unobstructed range 2 shot there from Fen into the rear of yellow.
Probably hoping for some shields to be gone.
Okay. So 3 hits.
And he spends the focus.
And that is the last 2 shields off of yellow there. So that's a good start for Ben in the shooting. Now needs to hope that Nomlum survives this little onslaught.
What are the requirements you need to get heroic? Is it all blanks?
All blanks. If you get...
Not like...
Nope. If you
one eye or one eye.
No, if you get one bit of paint, heroic does not trigger. And that was a bit of a shame. There was no hits there. If he had had a focus or something, that would have been perfect.
And he's also triggering Dengar just to try and...
Yeah, and Dengar is causing another hit onto red, so that's not good. But yeah, so heroic, it has to be a complete blank out in order for you to be able to re-roll those dice, which is obviously the more dice you're rolling, the lower the margin that you're going to be getting that. However, for 1 point, if you do, say you do roll 4 blanks and you trigger it, for 1 point, you're going to be laughing. Like there, another 1 hit.
1 hit. Oh, honestly, I think these are some of the worst dice rolls of any die. I just think it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, and Nomlum spent his focus there to avoid that damage. And he's rotated his arc towards 4, and now number 2. So a lot of rotating of that arc going on there from Nomlum. It's a good job he's got quite a smooth rotating arc on there. Some of the arc indicators can be quite stiff to rotate.
The stiffest things, and you just end up moving the model 90 degrees.
Oh, and we have 4 hits.
Now putting Nom Nom on
1 health.
No, down to 1.
Down to 1. So it's really unfortunate that the other 2 T-70s couldn't get that extra bit of damage. Nomlum is surviving there. Very, very hurt, but still surviving.
And the final guy, Mr. Green, has just only got 1 shot, and that's on a Fang fighter.
Yeah, and that is 1 damage on blue there.
I mean, that's quite hard to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's what's more impressive is that Craig only rolled 1 hit with that roll. So it got through. So for our viewers there, obviously normally you can see on the red squadrons, they've all got the coloured dot on there to identify which is which, with the Fang fighters all being painted in various different, lovely, I might add, colour schemes. Rather than putting the dot on there, we've just gone for the ship colours themselves. And yet they are absolutely lovely. I love the fact that the red and blue ones although they're in different colours, they are pretty much the same. So they just match so nicely. Oh, that is not good. So that's 2 shields there onto blue, and that'll be Nom Lum.
That was on the blue or onto green?
That was onto blue. So Nom Lum,
okay.
The last person that shot him was blue, so that was the way his arc was pointing. So he's gone for that shot,
Okay.
which is quite a good play there from Craig, because it means that it's a range 3 now. 1 crit, 1 evade. So dice going back in, and as we anticipated, range 1 red Zealous recruit into yellow.
I'm hoping for some heroic. Just to get at least 1 heroic.
Yeah.
Especially with that many dice, you want to get at least some. That's just annoying.
Yeah, again. So he gets the evade. Unfortunately, it's a hit crit, and it was a blinded pilot to finish him off. Blinded by the flames reaching into his cockpit and saying, "Not today."
I think they're the flames of regret of challenging these bounty hunters, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that if I was in Craig's position, I'd be very disappointed with that turn. I think he was hoping to be able to trade Nom Lum
1 X-Wing
for the X-Wing, or even just. Well, I think he probably would have hoped not to have actually traded the X-Wing off there and taking Nom Lum out. So Nom Lum surviving on 1 point is
lucky.
Yeah, very lucky.
Very lucky. I think Craig was probably expecting the Fang Fighter to go right around, just sort of take the scenic route around the rocks and then try and flank the X-Wings.
Yeah. I mean, they although it was a quite leisurely turn-in, I can see what you mean. I don't think he probably expected them to want to do that joust. Having no shields on there, knowing that crits would go straight through. Although he seemed to anticipate that 1 bank from Nom Lum, but was only able to really do anything about it with half of his squadron. So he could have done a 1 bank or even a 2 hard with the front T-70 there on the right hand side, but I'm not sure where he would have been able to go after that. I mean, he possibly could have been able to boost, but he might still get himself into arc of that rear Fang Fighter, but he might have had the asteroid there as a good buffer. And then maybe had an action on red there. But it's one of those things. These things happen, and that's part of what playing X-Wing is. You don't know what your opponent is going to do. And especially with Ben. Ben's a very good player. I've seen him play a lot, and I've played him a couple of times, and he knows exactly what his ships can do. And he's very good at getting them into the right positions to do the shenanigans that he wants to do.
I mean, with my game against him, he understood that he wanted to have Fen in the distance, and he would just fly around the edge of the board until Fen decided that, yep, okay, now I come in. He sort of, I mean, he sort of played him as if he was playing like a dead man switch list, where you sort of have the weak guys going first, try and do your best, and then I'll come in later and finish the job.
Absolutely.
But that didn't happen in my game. I was quite happy with how my game turned out. Unfortunately, it wasn't recorded. It was one of the closest games ever with an MOV of 19.
I think that is probably the closest MOV of the whole tournament.
Not. There was one that was 10.
Yeah.
That was the second closest.
But still, very close MOV there. We do have a few that were a lot wider MOV than that, and we'll see how this one ends up. We've got 36 minutes left, so we're about halfway through this game, so still plenty of time for Craig to get those points back. If he gets a really nice position on Fen, that could be quite helpful. But it's definitely not over at all for Craig. He still has some good utility there. Now, the big question is, with Nomlum being on 1 point of health, and this is a question that does come up quite often when you're playing, do you now try and focus him down and have to spend at least one more shot trying to take Nomlum down? Or is it at this point that you start trying to possibly concentrate on one of the other ships on the board?
That's an interesting one, actually. I would... I'm not sure what I'd do then. I think I would possibly send one ship or two like fragile ships, like 2 Ties or 2 Vultures. I mean, because there's always a chance that I roll terrible, or he rolls somehow amazing and I roll like a good roll. We just both have good rolls, and he just somehow survives on 1 HP, which has happened, and it happens to everyone, which is how the game goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it is a dice game in the end, so it does happen. So, I mean, looking at this, if you can get a nice range 1 shot from one of the Red Squadron experts and actually have some fairly good dice against Nomlum, he doesn't have that much by way of evade dice. So the odds would definitely be in your favour there to take him out. Unfortunately, with the angle of where Nomlum is most likely going, which is towards Ben's board edge, it does mean presenting your rear to at least one of those Fang fighters. Yeah. So it puts you in a less than ideal position.
I think it might be interesting. I think Craig should try and possibly go in for a bullseye and flip his S-foils. Which doesn't normally happen with the Resistance, but I think if he can try and barrel roll so that he's in a position which is much nicer, and hopefully have a bullseye shot so you have your normal 4 dice attack. I think that would be appreciated.
Yeah, so for those of you that might not be familiar with the integrated S-foils on the T70, obviously the open side, there are no limitations there. But when you close those S-foils, you get the white barrel roll, and you also get the white focus to linked red barrel roll. And the text reads, while you perform a primary attack, if the defender is not in your bullseye arc, roll 1 fewer attack die. Before you activate, you may flip this card. So having that ability to reposition with that barrel roll does mean that you can really try and get that bullseye back on. However, having seen the position of those Fang fighters, I mean, it's very risky there from red, but I don't know. Oh, that's really tough. Red's in a place where Nom Nom was last time. So there's a good chance of bumping if I think it's green at the front if he's unlucky. Yeah. So blue has done the 4K, occupying the last known position of that yellow T70. So again, red and blue Fang fighters have swapped which one actually has the target there. But it does mean that blue does have a shot on Nomlum as long as Fenrir doesn't come in and just delete him from the board. We've got a failed K-turn from green, which looks like it actually...
Looks like it hits red, I think.
Well, it looks almost like it actually skips over red and hits blue. So we're just going to check that. Oh, that would be very unfortunate. Oh, so he skips over red, bumps into blue.
Blue.
Which those Fang fighters have some nice shots available to them now. So Red has got.
They're probably just.
They're having the time of their life.
Mandalorians.
Yeah, they are not going to be recruits.
Mandalorians.
Yeah, they're not going to be recruits for very long. However, the Red T-70 has emulated them. So there are 3 range 1 shots there. Red into red. So Red T-70 into Red Fang. Red Fang into Green T-70. Blue Fang into Blue T-70. There's going to be a lot of pain going there. And what does Fen do?
Oh, it just becomes a pain and tries to get a range 1 shot.
Oh, he's got a range 1 shot there.
But I mean, is he going to try boosting and then doing a red focus, or is he just going to stay where he is and just?
I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't even be looking at doing the boost or barrel roll. Why stress yourself? Give yourself a completely free dial.
It depends. You could do a boost and then a focus and try and go for the one at the back, so red doesn't take any damage.
It is an interesting one, but I still think that's the better option. Gives you the open dial for next turn. So 2 hits, Fearless for 3, Focus for 5, and 1 evade.
No, I think Heroic isn't happy at the moment. It's not getting anything.
But even with Heroic there, you would have still lost all the shields. That is painful. That is very painful. And that has got half points on green there. Currently, it's only the red one that is actually healthy.
I think Fen is doing what Fen does best, and it's just saying, just get out of here.
Yeah, this is actually posing a very, very, very tricky question. Does he now focus fire with blue and red onto the red Fang fighter, or go for Nom Lump? So we've got green. So green into Fen. Nothing there. 2 hits, 2 evades, and Concordia.
I don't know. I think I'll go for Nom, and then go for red. I just think at this point you sort of need the points, and you want another ship off the table.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance that Nom will just turn around and just probably maybe kill green if he's unlucky.
Okay, so what we're going to see here. That's interesting.
So blue, but blue
red
is damaged,
onto blue.
So.
True, blue is damaged. That is a good point. So spending the focus there, and that's 3 hits. Oh, daddies,
no.
That is brutal. So half points on the blue, but it is still there. Now, I think this is where I think that I would have gone for red, because you could have focus fired from both angles. But ouch, that is a great roll there from Ben. He is loving that. So it looks
he would
like
have had 1 guarantee anyway with Concordia, but
yeah. Oh, not from red. Ooh. And that is an absolute shame. So 1 hit to 1 evade there from blue onto Nom Lump. Dengar causes a damage onto blue, so that's the last shield. That's 3 perfect Dengar triggers there. And Nom Lump's arc is now twisted, but we're going to go for blue Fang fighter into blue. 3 hits. We have a heroic trigger, everybody. Heroic has triggered.
That's 1.
Let's see what happens.
Just watch me 2 blanks again.
Hey, we get 1 focus. So heroic can only trigger once per turn. So that is 2 hits onto blue there. But heroic triggered. 1 point upgrade working.
Did something.
So we've got red into green. Just 1 hit. What are the odds? Twice in a round, we have heroic trigger. Unfortunately, it can't trigger a 3rd time for that second double blank out. So that is 1 more damage onto green. So that's a lot of half points being given up there now.
And
so now the choice for Nomlum is: do you go into green or do you go into blue? Both are on 2 damage.
Yeah.
Gonna go into 2.
Blue's doing good with heroic, so you never know.
Yeah.
And they're both range 2, so either or is okay.
And that's 1 crit onto blue. What do we have?
Go on, direct hit.
No, it is in fact a loose stabilizer, which is not good at all. So he needs to do a straight maneuver, otherwise he's going to take damage unless he repairs that card. So that basically telegraphs where he's going for the next turn or 2.
That leaves him open for Nom Nom just to do a hard 1 or 2 and then just rotate his arc. Even though it's not really Nom Nom's thing to do a rotate, but just to finish him off, really.
He might not even need to do it. He might just do a hard maneuver. His arc is already to the left of the ship. So if he leaves it to the left, if blue does a 2-speed maneuver or even a 1-speed maneuver to clear the stress and fix that loose stabilizer, then he's got the shot. And those 2 fang fight, he could even he could be really cheeky and do a 1 to the right with the blue fang fighter, block that blue T70.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you'd do that, though. I think you want to try and keep those fang fighters in the fight.
Well, it'd be more likely that he'll bump into the red one if he does that anyway.
Yeah. Well, the red one will move anyway first. So the fang fighters will move first with Nom Lum. Then you've got the T70s, then Fen. I think it's going to be... This is an interesting turn, and I think off the back of that, Ben is probably very happy with how that's gone. Although there's not a huge difference in points, with Ben currently being on 99 and Craig on 45, that's sort of only 1 ship's difference. It's still enough that Ben is in a good position because he is now 1 health point away from getting full points on blue, 2 for green. So he has the potential to be putting a lot of points up on the board there. He could potentially, in this next round of shooting, if he gets it right, he could be putting himself up to 147 points on the board. And that's without even touching the red one.
Yeah, if he's able to wipe out green and blue, that'll put him in a very good position for victory, pretty much.
Yeah. What's going to make it tight here is that although the red fang fighter is now behind the green T70, there's not a lot of space for that red fang fighter to move into. So you almost think, would he do a deliberate bump into the back, hoping that the green T70 is only doing, say, a 2 forward to keep his arc on? It's tough. I think we'll see. I think the order we'll see the ships move in from Ben's side is Nom Lum first, then the blue fang fighter, freeing up a bit of space for that red fang fighter to potentially hop over the green T70.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think it depends on what Fen does, to be honest. I think is Fen either going to go in left and maybe be out combat for a couple of rounds, or does he I don't know, what Ks does the Fang Fighter have?
It's got the 4K, so it could do that. Yeah. So you could potentially, I reckon we may see from blue Fang Fighter, we may see a 2 Talon roll towards the bottom of the board.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work.
A 2 Bank, again towards the bottom of the board from the red Fang Fighter. And possibly a 4K from Fen. And I reckon that Nom Lum is either doing a 1 Bank to the left or 2 hard.
Yeah, I think it depends on what Nom Lum. I mean, Fen and Nom Lum, they're the sort of the pivotal ones, because you know that the 2 Fang Fighters are going to stay together and keep picking off possibly green and blue.
Oh, doing a 4K there for blue Fang instead.
That's interesting. I mean, real close.
Well, I think it's a good maneuver, spinning it around. I think one of the better. It might actually be better than the 2 Talon that I was suggesting, in that it's going to keep his arc a lot wider, and also he now doesn't have to worry about that rock.
That asteroid, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there is that.
You might have to worry about non-bumping.
Yeah, but you definitely prefer Nom to bump than the blue Fang to bump. Because Nom Lum, at the moment, his arc is pointing into the board. So unless blue really books it out of there, he's most likely going to have that. And we've got a 3 forward from red. Now, I reckon that'll be... You're probably looking at a boost round, a boost up and an out to try and swing.
Boost red focus.
Yeah, try and swing back round the asteroid there. Or does Master Ben know something we don't?
He's just focusing. That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
He's probably setting up for a talent roll next turn.
Yeah, it keeps his options a lot more open. Although with the Fang Fighter having the full suite of 2 basic maneuvers being blue, I would have been tempted to boost round, then do that blue 2 hard, and then boost round again. Might take out the fight for a little bit, but...
So blue's doing a 3 forward or a 2 forward?
Yep. And that is the loose stabilizer repaired there, in hopes that he gets to live a little bit longer.
This is green.
So hard 2. Which direction are we going? Looks like we're going towards blue. So going for a bit of violence there. So still staying stressed and no focus, but I mean, at this point, you kind of have to.
I think he's hoping to just wipe out blue and then say goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, if he can wipe out blue, Nom Lum has the choice between either, but it still gives him that extra 20-odd points.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like we are
ganging up on blue.
Yeah, ganging up on blue. And again, at this point, if one of them manages to take out blue first, then the other one is going to have a nice shot on Nom Lum. I go red first, then blue with the shooting. So red into the Fang, red into the Fang, green into Nom Lum if you are able to delete that Fang Fighter, because then you've got the unobstructed shot there from green.
I think we see a good play from Craig here as he's forced Ben to bump Ben into, but still getting the range 1 shot.
Still the range 1 shot, still has Fearless. So no other modifications there, but still, that's not a position I'd want to be in. But again,
No,
he's having
not.
to use Fen shot on a ship with 1 health.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, and that's just 1. Oh, Fearless isn't active because they're not arc to arc.
They're not facing each other. That's interesting.
Oh, and we finally get some natties. So that's good. Good result there for Craig.
Now he gets some double. Now they start moving once they're nearly dead. It's interesting. I don't know if it's worth demoting an X-wing to an A-wing and then adding like Commander Poe or something. Or, I mean, we couldn't at the time of this because the new Resistance pack wasn't out, but the new Commander Poe is cheaper than normal Poe, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I still think for me that I prefer the original Poe, but
yeah, it's more. You can do it every turn, whereas Commander you can do it. You have to do it every other turn.
Yeah,
because it's 2 charge instead of 1.
Yeah. So fuel leak there on Zealous Recruit. So a ship with 1 health. That is a completely blank crit. So
that is
not a worry.
Useless.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does mean that he now has to then spend another shot at that blue to take it out, which is a bit of a shame there. I think Craig was really hoping to
get Nom
be able to
out as well as blue.
delete that Zealous and delete Nom, which would have given him a good chunk of points, putting him on to 88 and leaving him only a little behind. We'll try to debate now whether to go for the Fang or Nom.
I'll go for Nom. Even as range 2, it's not. He doesn't get Concordia face off.
True. So let's see. It's 4 dice, so it is range 1.
So he's going for.
So 2 hits, and gets the evade, and gets Concordia. That is such a such a good upgrade. That Concordia. So that
not 4 hits.
No, it was only 2 hits. 2 hits of focus and a blank. So yeah, it is a little bit tricky to see it where they're being rolled on the table with the light shining on them and everything. But yeah.
And returning
we have
the Fang Fighter.
1 hit. And there's the evade. Got what we needed. And Nom.
Going to the X-Wing.
Going primary into green. That's interesting. 1 hit. I would have. So that's another damage there onto green. I think that I would have gone for blue with him having only 1 health. So a bit of an odd choice there.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, they're both on 1, so it doesn't make much difference.
Yeah, well, they're both on 1 now. I mean, possibly. I mean, it could be a choice to try and delete that one to give him a bit more clear space there for the blue Fang Fighter to move. He's got quite a limited area to sit in now. And especially considering he's going to have to probably end up doing a 2 forward, I think. As to whether that can clear that green T70, I'm not 100% sure. It might. I think it might sit nicely next to it, but it's hard to say. I mean, with 12.
I don't know what. 12 minutes on the timer. I'm not sure what 12 or green. I don't know why I said 12. Blue or green would do.
Yeah.
I think possibly some Talon rolls. I think with blue, maybe a Talon roll to try and fingers crossed. Well, it'll be once the actions. That's the interesting thing.
Well, green is still stressed, which is the problem. So green is going to have to clear that stress. So it's most likely going to be. a one bang to the left or a one forward, if he closes his wings, because you can always imagine Nomlum is going to do a forward maneuver. If Green closes his wings, does that one forward to clear the stress, and then barrel rolls himself into having his bullseye onto Nomlum, that would be really nice. Because then he would have 4 dice with a focus against Nomlum, looking to take him out. Potentially Blue could be doing a Talon roll.
Possibly. But I think either of them need actions just so they can survive or try and deal some damage.
Well, like I said, with Green would still have the action. If he does that one forward, which is Blue, clears that, barrel roll focus, he's in a good position. Blue, he needs to turn around, which is the problem. Because would you basically leave it to Fen to follow, or would you get Fen to follow in on red?
He could do a hard 2 and then boost to try and get red, or try to get red in arcs. But there's a good chance red's going to turn in and go for either red X-wing or or
green X-wing. Yeah. It's an interesting one. I think I could see Fen doing a one hard back towards Ben's board edge. Ooh. So we have a 2 hard round.
Which clears the stress.
Clears really nicely. And just sticking a focus on so that makes one bank. That means that if Green is doing that, stressing himself again there. So if Green did do that one forward, that's a bump there into Nomlum. 2 Talon, nice. I like that a lot, actually. Now to see what the T-70s do. So K-turn from Blue. I mean, I don't hate that. He's
doing the K-turn.
Yeah, I don't hate that, but I also...
Where do you think the Talon roll would have been better?
I think the Talon roll would have been better. It would have put him in a better position and keep him closer into the action as well, strangely enough. Because I think
with the 4K, Fen could do a 3 bank and then he gets Fearless on top of his heaps of dice.
Yeah, and I think if he'd have done the 3 Talon, he'd be pretty much just to the right of that flipped over dial there, which means that even if he doesn't get a shot, he would be in a really nice position to come back around next turn, doing like a 2 bank to clear his stress. It would just be really nice. And unfortunately, we've got that bump there from Green. So very well played there by Ben, reading that one really well by bringing Nomlo in.
Benefits of having I1s.
Yeah. And now, again, this gives Craig a really interesting dilemma.
Cool decision. Did you go for...
I say you've got to... I'd say if you're aware of the points, you've got to go for Nomlum because he's more points. There we go. I think, the Talon roll might have been better. Fen would have then had to have barrel rolled to get himself... Oh, yep. Sorry, that's bye bye blue. Yeah, bye bye blue.
He's certainly gone.
Yeah.
And
Fearless. Focus.
Focus.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's 5 hits. Goodbye, blue. Oh, we do get heroic. And he gets an evade. So
one last heroic.
One last heroic roll of the dice. And I'm not going to lie, at this stage, I have actually lost count. That could be 4.
We're on
could
3.
Be 3. We're on 3. Oh yeah, he had
on 3.
He blanked to blank earlier, which meant no second heroic.
No, you can't double heroic.
I mean, that would definitely need to be a 2-point card if you could just keep rolling until you definitely got a result.
I think that's just. I mean, you guarantee something, but it can also be guarantee eyes, and you're not focused. So
yeah,
you know. Now the X-wing. Well, X-wing singular. What's Red gonna do? Is he gonna go? I think he has to go for Nom Nom, but
yeah, I think you have to go for Nom Nom. Nom Nom is worth more points. He still has the shot back at you, so I would say try and take Nom Nom out, so that you get more points for your MOV. Because at this point, I don't think there's really any way that you can come back from this with less than 5 minutes left. But I would say take Nom Nom out, so that way you're only getting one shot back at you from the Red Fang fighter, which would probably be.
Is he going to spend the focus? Oh, it's already hit.
He spent the focus, so hit crit. And that is Nom Nom down. So very good. Time. Very good decision.
I think Nom Nom is a surprisingly maneuverable ship. I think when I played against him, I thought he was only 1 agility, but turns out he's 2, which is quite nasty on something with that much power. But Dengar misses as well, so
yeah, so that's not too bad. So yeah, I mean, two evades on a large base ship is quite nice. And obviously, it's got that weird asymmetric dial. So he was very much angling towards coming back on that left-hand side to clear stress there.
Hey, does it really have an asymmetric dial? That's interesting.
Yeah, obviously with the ship being asymmetric, 1 hit there. Evades. Yeah, so asymmetric dial. So all your blue, you've got your 1, 2, 3 straight blue, your 1, 2, 3 left bank blue, right banks are white, left hard turns 1 and 2 are white, right hard turns 1 and 2 are red. You can only Talon roll, S-loop to the left. So yeah, it's a very interesting ship. And I do remember in first edition when it came out, everyone was like, what is with this dial? That's weird. But
I quite like it. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, it's quite good. I mean, it fits with the way the ship looks and its aesthetic.
Yeah.
So it is quite interesting. It'd be nice to see some more asymmetric dials in the game.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. But I don't know what on. I think the Twilight. I'd like to see the Twilight, but I'm not sure that would have an asymmetric dial.
It might do. It's interesting because with that shape, I think it does sort of lean towards the possibility, but I think it's not as much of. Whereas with I think there's more ship on that one side with the Jump Master than there is with the Twilight, but it's almost like a fin on the side.
Yeah,
so
it's sort of like a big stabilizer with a big cannon on it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the Twilight, I think they have to do the Twilight soon. The Republic do need a big ship.
Yeah, they don't have a large base ship, and the Twilight, they are begging for a large base. It'll either be the Twilight or one of the Naboo cruisers.
Yeah, it might be Padme's cruiser.
Yeah.
It won't be the one you see in episode 1 that gets blown up in episode 2, because that one's an epic. It's huge.
Well, the one in episode 2 is different to the one in episode 1.
Yeah, no, it's like got the front wings for the one you see.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see either the ones from episode 1, 2, or 3 in there. I think it'd be quite nice to see just that bright chrome ship on the board. But I think
some people will do some cool paint jobs for it.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, even if it's not released and it's just like silver plastic, people will do some amazing paint jobs.
Yeah. But I think that the Twilight is probably one of the most likely next candidates for what we will see. But again, that's definitely more of a support ship.
I mean, you see the Twilight pull some people out of sticky situations, like saves Anakin on a couple when his his ether sprite is damaged. But you also see it like rescue Plo Koon when the Malevolence episode.
Yeah. But it would be a cool ship to see. I mean, I'm very interested to see what other new ships we get for the Republic, for the Separatists, what new ships we might as well see for Resistance and First Order. I mean, I think we're all pretty much set and guaranteed that we know that at some point we will see the Razor Crest for Scum. I think people are practically begging for that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's one I would like to see, but it's also one that I'm interested how they'll do it. I don't know who the pilots will be. I really want them to sort of make it like prices if it was medium and then just stuff a load of cards in it. But small base ship.
But we will see. Okay, so that's the Blue Zealous recruit surviving, and that is game. So very well done there from Craig. He kept at it. I think it was unfortunate with his dice roll, but that was a good game there.
It's highlighted the parts of Resistance which I didn't know. I didn't realize they could do some good swarm tactics, or mini swarm. And 3 Fang fighters, they're deadly.
I mean, we all know how deadly Fang fighters are, and to have 3 of them on the board with Fen and Nomlo in support was tricky. I just want to say, Fergus, thank you very much for joining us in providing some commentary and some insights into this game. It was definitely really good to have you on the channel. Yeah,
thanks for having me. I've had a good time talking about X-Wing for a couple of hours.
No worries. Well, hopefully we'll get you back on the channel soon. But as I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. So round 4 of the Saleucami Showdown will be coming very soon. But in the meantime, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell to know when the next video has dropped, and we will see you again soon. Thank you very much.